She collapsed in the kitchen. 1 second she was there stirring soup, humming a lullaby she used to sing to our daughter. The next, her body hit the tiles like a dropped marionette, limbs loose, lifeless. The sound was sharp, final, a dull thud that cracked something deep inside me. By the time we reached the hospital, she was unconscious. Her chest rose and fell with the rhythm of machines. Wires slithered into her arms, tubes down her throat, the hum of artificial life louder than anything I'd ever heard. Doctors spoke in cautious guesses, their words softened by white coats and weary eyes. But it was a nurse who changed everything. She stopped in the hallway, voice trembling, eyes intense. "Please," she said, "bring your daughter now." I didn't understand, but I didn't question it. I found Emma in the waiting room, her small fingers curled into fists. I held her hand. It was freezing, like she left her warmth somewhere back in that kitchen when her mother fell. Together we walked into the ICU, and what we found inside didn't just steal my breath, it erased it. There she was, my wife, pale, still a fragile body suspended in technology. But it wasn't just her. There was a man beside her, holding her hand, whispering her name like a broken hymn. He looked up when we entered, and my stomach twisted. I knew him. Her co-worker, the one she just grabbed lunch with now and then. The one I'd once shared a drink with at her office party. Shook hands with. The man who now held her hand like she was his to grieve. When his eyes met Emma's, he stood. "You're her daughter," he whispered. "No," I said. "She's mine." They say betrayal is a slow unraveling, a quiet rot that eats at you day by day. But in that moment, it exploded. Instant, devastating. The rest of the hour was a blur of static. Nurses asking questions I couldn't hear. Emma pulling at my sleeve asking if her mom would be okay. I kept my voice steady, my expression calm. But inside, something vast and cold opened up. We'd been married for 15 years. 15 years of shared calendars, morning coffees, bedtime routines. I was the dreamer, the builder, the provider. She was a balance, organized, nurturing, full of light. Or so I thought. I remembered late-night conversations, our baby sleeping between us, whispered promises in the dark. She once held my face in her hands and said, "I will never lie to you," and I believed her. God help me, I believed her. The signs had been there. Averted eyes, overdue work dinners, laughter that died when I entered the room. And then last month, Emma found a note tucked into her lunchbox. A love note. Sweet, private, but not meant for her. She thought it was a joke. I knew better. I didn't confront my wife then. Not yet. That night, after Emma went to sleep, I sat in the garage, staring at the toolbox she'd given me for our 10th anniversary. "To my forever," it said, engraved in silver. Forever, I realized, had a shelf life. So I stopped crying and started planning. I synced her iCloud to my laptop, installed a quiet piece of software. Undetectable, patient. I saw everything. Texts, photos, emails she thought were deleted. He called her Sunflower. She called him Always. Always. That was our word. I tracked her movements. She wasn't going to yoga. She was going to room 409 at the Rosewood Hotel. I took pictures, kept receipts, documented it all. I thought she was planning to leave me for him. But then the toxicology report came in, and everything turned upside down. She hadn't collapsed from stress. She was being poisoned. And not by me. I dug deeper. Turns out her Sunflower had a past. A messy, violent one. An ex-wife with a restraining order. 2 former girlfriends found dead from accidental overdoses. Patterns hidden in plain sight. He was dosing her slowly, preparing to erase me and start fresh. With our daughter. I don't know if she knew, or she pretended not to. At that point, it didn't matter. I had enough to bury them both. I waited quietly, let the hospital run its tests, let the doctors talk. Meanwhile, I met with a lawyer, updated my will, transferred every asset to a trust under Emma's name, froze our accounts. By the time she woke up 3 days later, I had already filed for full custody. The restraining order against him was pending. Divorce papers were ready to sign. But I needed one final moment. A conclusion. Something public, precise, undeniable. So I invited them both to dinner, told her I needed closure. We met at her favorite Italian restaurant, the same one where we used to celebrate anniversaries. Candlelight, white linens, familiar music. She looked tired. He looked smug. I passed a folder across the table. Before we order, I said, "Even you should see this." Inside, photos of them at the hotel, screenshots of their messages, GPS logs, toxicology reports, and finally, my petition for full custody. He froze. She turned ghost white. "You try to replace me," I said quietly, looking at her. Then I turned to him. "And you try to erase her. I know what you did." I added, "The hospital knows. And by morning, the police will too." He stammered, denied, fumbled. She turned on him in an instant. Rage, shock, betrayal within betrayal. By the time the check came, he was gone. She was crying into a napkin. The divorce moved quickly. I kept the house, the savings, full custody of Emma. She was left with supervised weekends and a lawyer's bill. He vanished like cowards do when the light hits them. She writes now letters, begging, explaining. I don't open them. Emma's doing better. She doesn't ask about them anymore. And I've learned that love without honesty is just a performance. And I stopped applauding. Betrayal taught me more than any teacher ever could. It taught me silence, timing, precision. I don't regret what I did. I regret trusting without proof. But I fixed that with patience, with evidence, and with a final move so clean it left no room for applause. Only checkmate.